right around the Missouri River Valley, on the border of Iowa and Nebraska. That was pretty cool. And seeing all the fields and how they were terraced so that they could actually be farmed to prevent soil erosion. So just to kind of give you guys a little information about where we're going. We are headed to Estes Park, Colorado. We are going with my mom and my stepdad. This is, I think, the 4th or 5th year that they have done this. And they just wanted to share this part of Colorado with us. And we were able to make it work this year. So we are gone. We left Wednesday and we get home on Monday. And we are bringing you guys with us on part of the journey since it's just fun. And we have, Andy has been to Colorado for work before, but was only in Denver and only like downtown Denver. Yeah.
It's pretty lame.
So.
No offense, Denver.
I have never seen the mountains out west. The furthest west I have been is Fargo, North Dakota, which isn't much different than Minnesota. And the girls obviously have not been to Colorado. So we're all pretty excited to see the mountains. What did you wake up saying yesterday, Andy?
Oh, our little Lord of the Rings quote for the trip. I want to see mountains, Gandalf. Mountains! It's my little quote.
That is quoted from Bilbo, speaking to his friend Gandalf the Grey. And which Lord of the Rings movie is that from?
I don't know. It's from one of them.
One of them. Anyway, it's J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings.
I think it's the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah. Because Bilbo knows he's going to be going. He's got to throw his party.
Yeah.
But he's getting anxious and wants to leave.
Right. So we have, yesterday it was a long day in the car. We stopped at some awesome antique shops. So in Estes Park, we are staying at an Airbnb that's pretty much downtown Estes. So we're staying in Estes Park today, Thanksgiving, through Sunday morning. And then on Sunday, we're going down to Cannon City. We are going to see the Royal Gorge down there. And visit a few other things. And then Andy, I, and the girls head home on Monday, and my mom and stepdad are going to finish out the week with the rest of their own adventure. So just kind of to tell you my first impressions of Nebraska, I guess, and I'll turn the camera around here in a minute and show you, but it's fairly flat.
It's a big old pancake.
And it doesn't look too much different from Minnesota, I would say. Other than
it's flat.
Other than it's flat. At least the area that we live in, from where we live, and pretty much I've only seen Black Angus cows.
Lots of cows.
That are Black Angus.
Some brown cows, some black cows.
I haven't really seen
some rutting whitetail bucks.
Yes. I've seen those.
Some
hawks.
Some prairie dogs. We saw those a couple miles ago.
Wild prairie dogs, not ones in a zoo.
That's right. They were just chilling out in their holes like usual. Not really doing much.
Oh, and yesterday, okay, so yesterday when we left Minnesota, it was in the teens, okay? It was cold.
That's warm for Minnesota.
We get to Nebraska. We stopped in Lincoln at one part yesterday afternoon. It was 61 degrees. Let's just say my sweater I had on was a little too heavy for the weather, but
felt like summer again.
Yeah, it was nice.
There's a lot of migrating Canada geese too. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So
segue.
So now I think we'll just turn the camera around and give you guys a view of what Nebraska looks like in case you've never been here. And it's of interest sure that we point out cows if we see them. Not that you haven't seen cows before, but you'll notice that there are a lot of cows.
There's some right over there. There's a lone horse.
Look at that.
A couple horses.
2 horses. That is something we haven't seen very much of. We've seen a lot of hay bales, cornstalk bales, and hopefully you can see the cows back there. Driving through the western part of Nebraska and the eastern part of Colorado, Andy and I have been having an interesting conversation as far as, you know, like starter homesteaders go, and creating our plan for our farmstead homestead situation. And, you know, when you fly places, you really miss out on seeing so much, you know, not only the landscape and experiencing different parts of the country or little, you know, stops that you can make, but it really makes you aware of things. You know, I've seen different YouTube videos or Facebook videos or documentaries talking about feedlots and how animals are treated there, whether it's chickens, pigs, beef, dairy animals, cows. But actually driving past them, since it's not something that we really experience in our neck of the woods of Minnesota, it's just, as a small homestead, farmstead, it just really makes you appreciate that you grow your own food, that you know how your food, whether it's your vegetables or your animals, who ultimately will end up on your dinner table or that of others, are raised, and what goes into them, so that the end product for you is more quality.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out here that are still doing things in a good way, you know.
Oh yeah.
The feedlots are kind of fewer and farther between.
But
when you go by them, you know you're going to come up to one soon because it starts to stink really bad.
You can smell it from a little ways away.
And then when you go by it, of course, you just look at all them cows looking out at these open, beautiful landscapes saying, I want to go over there.
Because they're just in mud and dirt.
Then you go by a field like 2 seconds later, and there's a bunch of happy cows out there grazing freely after farmers take out their crops, or they rotate them through different paddocks out here, big, huge paddocks. They've got plenty of room. They just look happy. So, you know, there's a little bit of both. Right. It's not all that bad. But some of it's where you wouldn't want to buy your meat from. Others are where you would. And
you'll see some video footage of examples of both of those. And one of them was actually a dairy. The Holsteins, right? Was a dairy operation.
That's the only dairy I've seen out here.
Yeah, that's the only dairy we have seen. But it was just, you know, those...
Yeah, there's probably 5,000 cows there, you know, or more.
Easily. Just in the milking barns.
And they were all in a 5-acre square area, you know.
And you could see that they were divided up by their age and, you know, whether they're going to become milkers or if they were breeders or things like that. So it just makes you a lot more aware of your food. Was kind of the conversation we were having.
The other thing we were talking about as we were going through here is you see a lot of irrigation systems and then farms with fields where there's irrigation and then there's crops growing there, and then just outside of those circles where those irrigation circles are, it's all dry and brown and kind of dead looking, but it's lush and green where the irrigation is, so it's kind of cool. And it would be really easy out here with these big skies and this abundant wind to really create closed loop systems out here that are...
So we have smelled this for, what, 2-3 miles, Andy?
Yeah.
So you can look at this.
Holy bucket!
Look at this feedlot.
Here's your McDonald's.
What would you say? It's like half a mile deep? No, it's further. It goes over the ridge. I would say that the gates are probably close to a mile deep. North to south, which is the way I'm pointing is north. More on this side too. He wasn't stuck. That's a grain truck to feed him, Layla, because they have to use a truck that big. This is insane.
They kill all those cows. For no purpose. Now look at that.
That would be a feedlot. Looks like a dairy operation.
Yeah, see, these trees are all here because right behind the trees there's a big slurry pit, lake, whatever they call it. That's where all their poop goes into.
There's the milking barns, but is that where they feed them? Is right there?
Yeah. I think more people should just have a couple acres and raise their own.
So part of our goal of this trip was not to find as many feedlots as we could and turn it into like a documentary style video, but I'm hoping that the footage worked out on that the biggest feedlot we've gone by so far, and the amount of animals in that space. What was it, like 2 miles wide and a mile deep worth of pens?
I don't think we really saw all of it. So.
No, because it kind of went up a little knoll, but you could tell that it went over the other side, but you truly don't know. I don't know how big it was. It just makes you want to not buy meat from the store anymore. Any kind.
I don't.
The only stuff that we buy in the store is pork, which will hopefully,
Not very often.
Not very often, but will hopefully be, well, it will be changing within the next images to see, and we didn't even see like the hardest images. But you can just tell that those animals are not happy. But you go past a feedlot like that, and I know we've already said this, but you go past a feedlot, you see these animals in these pens that aren't exposed to any grass or corn stalk fields or anything.
Natural environment.
In a natural environment, and then all of a sudden, and you can just see it on their faces, they're all looking out through the fencing, and then just a little ways down the road, you see these. Yeah.
But they don't look healthy.
They don't look healthy or happy. And then you get to a field, like you've seen in the footage, where these animals are. I shouldn't just say these animals. Then you see some cows out in a field, grazing and enjoying themselves, and you can just tell that they're happy.
But I was just saying, it's not really about the happiness of the cow. I mean, that's kind of a human thing to say, but cow doesn't necessarily associate with happiness like that. But they do suffer, from a lack of good health and quality environment. We have a whole 100 square mile area around a place like that just smells atrocious and gives me a headache as we go by it. And that is the environment they're living in every single day. So it's like, it's not a good quality environment for them. So there's a certain amount of suffering happening there. So that's, I think, more descriptive of what it's like than their happiness.
Than just happy, yeah.
They're happy to get, feed when it comes by and stuff like that. And I'm sure they go wrestle out there and do cow things.
Oh, yeah.
You can't stop a cow from being a cow.
No.
Or
Once
a steer,
a cow, always
being
a
steer.
cow. Steer.
But you can impact their environment to cause them to suffer. The other thing about it is, from a human perspective, it's us, I think, that suffers from an unhappiness too, because it's just,
We see how
it's a business to the people that work there, and there is no personal relationship with the animal. They're not really measuring the quality or value of the life of the animal or themselves in that context, because they're willing to just go through the motions, see those things as more of a commodity, than a life. So it's good. That's why we homestead. I grew up on a farm. I kind of always liked it, but I liked being close to the animals and knowing where my food came from and knowing what each of those lives that you survive off of came from and what kind of life they lived.
Well, and when you are close to your animals and you have a smaller herd, if you will, whether it's pigs, a flock of chickens, or a herd of cattle for anything, whether it's dairy or beef, if one of them isn't acting themselves.
Yeah, it's like,
because like Greg Judy.
That's what Salatin talks about all the time.
And Joel Salatin, they talk about it because they're out there seeing their cattle and their pigs and their chickens every day. So they know if one of them's not feeling right, or if one of them has been in labor too long and something's not going well.
Yeah.
But if you have herds like that, you lose one, it doesn't matter.